They say one moment can change your entire life. I never believed that until the night of March 15th, when a hand connected with my face in front of 200 guests, and everything I thought I knew about justice, dignity, and my own worth shifted forever. My name is Adaeze Okafor. I'm 23 years old, and this is the story of how a single slap exposed the truth, destroyed an empire, and gave me back something I didn't even know I'd lost: my voice. I've worked as a housemaid for the Obiora family for 3 years. When I started at 19, fresh from my village in Anambra State, I was grateful just to have a job in Lagos. The Obiora mansion in Banana Island was like nothing I'd ever seen. 5 bedrooms, a swimming pool, marble floors that I cleaned every morning on my hands and knees, chandeliers that cost more than my family's entire house back home. Mr. Chinedu Obiora made his millions in real estate and construction. His company, Obiora Holdings, built half the luxury estates in Lekki and Victoria Island. He was in his early 40s, always busy, rarely home. When he was around, he was polite to staff, a brief nod, sometimes a well done, when he noticed the house was particularly clean. His son, Ikenna, was 28. Tall, handsome, educated abroad, being groomed to take over the family business. He was kind to me in that absent-minded way wealthy people are kind to staff. Not cruel, but not really seeing you either. You're part of the furniture. Useful, necessary, invisible. For 3 years, I kept my head down. I woke at 5 a.m., prepared breakfast, cleaned the house, did laundry, served meals, and retreated to my small room in the boys' quarters by 10 p.m. I sent money home to my mother every month. I was saving to go back to school someday, to finish the education I'd abandoned when my father died, and we couldn't afford the fees. It wasn't a bad life. It wasn't the life I dreamed of, but it was stable, safe, predictable. Then, 6 months ago, Ikenna brought home his fiancée. Her name was Kimmy Adaeze, 26 years old, from another wealthy Lagos family. Her father owned a chain of luxury hotels. She was beautiful in that expensive way, perfect skin maintained by monthly spa treatments, long Brazilian weave that cost more than my yearly salary, designer everything. From the first day, she made it clear what she thought of staff. "You there, maid girl." She'd snap her fingers at me like I was a dog. "My shoes are dirty. Clean them. Now." "Adaeze," I'd say quietly. "My name is Adaeze. I don't care what your name is. Just do your job." She never learned my name. For 6 months, I was maid girl, or you there, or just a finger snap and a command. I endured it. What choice did I have? Jobs were hard to find in Lagos. The Obioras paid well and on time. Mr. Obiora Sr. was a good employer. Ikenna had always been respectful. One difficult fiancé was manageable, or so I thought. The engagement party was planned for March 15th. A massive celebration at the Obiora mansion, 200 guests, live band, catering from the most expensive restaurant in Lagos, flowers imported from South Africa. Mrs. Obiora, Ikenna's mother who lived separately after divorcing her husband years ago, came to help plan it. Even she seemed nervous around Kimmy. "Just make sure everything is perfect," Kimmy told me 2 days before the party, looking me up and down with disgust. "I know your type usually messes things up, but try not to embarrass Ikenna's family. This is the most important night of his life, and I won't have some village girl ruining it." I bit my tongue and nodded. The day of the party, I worked from 4 a.m., decorating, arranging, coordinating with caterers, making sure every detail was exactly as Kimmy demanded. By 6 p.m., when guests started arriving, I was exhausted but satisfied. Everything looked perfect. The party was in full swing by 8 p.m. I was in the kitchen, coordinating with the catering staff, making sure drinks were being refilled, food was being served properly. Mr. Obiora had hired extra help for the evening, but I was supervising, making sure nothing went wrong. At 9 p.m., Kimmy sent for me. "The maid girl. Someone get the maid girl. Now." I wiped my hands and went to the main living room where the party was happening. Music was playing, people were dancing, laughing, celebrating. Ikenna stood with his father and some business associates, looking happy and relaxed. Kimmy stood near the champagne table, and the moment she saw me, her face twisted with rage. "You," she hissed, loud enough that people nearby turned to look. "Come here." I approached, my heart starting to race. Something was wrong. "Did you arrange these champagne glasses?" she demanded. "Yes, Ma. According to your specifications." "They're wrong. All wrong. I specifically said crystal glasses, not regular glass." "Are you stupid? Can you not follow simple instructions?" I glanced at the glasses. They were crystal. Exactly what she'd requested. I checked 3 times. "Ma, these are crystal glasses. From the set you approved yesterday. Are you calling me a liar?" Her voice rose, sharp and cutting. More people were turning now, Conversation stopping. Are you saying I don't know what I requested for my own engagement party? No, Ma. I'm just saying. I'm saying you're incompetent. Useless. I knew hiring village girls was a mistake. You people can't do anything right. My face burned. Around us, 200 guests were watching now. Ikenna had noticed the commotion and was starting to walk over. Mr. Obiora was frowning. I'm sorry if there was any confusion, I started. Confusion? There's no confusion. You deliberately disobeyed my instructions to embarrass me. On my engagement night. In front of everyone. That's not true. Don't talk back to me, she screamed. And then her hand flew. The slap connected with my right cheek with such force that my head snapped to the side. The sound echoed in the sudden silence. My ear rang. My face exploded with pain. For a moment, nobody moved. Nobody breathed. I stood there, hand pressed to my burning cheek, fighting tears, fighting the urge to slap her back, fighting everything. Kimmy's face was twisted with satisfaction and rage. That's what happens when you disrespect your betters. Now get out of my sight before I have you fired. The room was completely silent now. 200 pairs of eyes on us. On me, the humiliated maid with the red handprint on her face. On Kimmy, the wealthy fiancée who'd just assaulted staff at her own engagement party. I wanted to run, to disappear, to cry. But something stopped me. Maybe it was the 3 years of swallowing insults. Maybe it was the exhaustion from working 16-hour days to make her party perfect. Maybe it was the injustice of being punished for doing exactly what she'd asked. Or maybe it was the voice of my father, dead 6 years now, who'd always told me, Adaeze, never let anyone make you forget your worth. I lowered my hand from my face. I looked directly at Kimmy. And I spoke, my voice shaking but clear. The glasses are crystal. Just as you requested. I have the receipt and your signed approval from yesterday. You're lying because you wanted an excuse to humiliate me in public. I don't know what I did to make you hate me, but I've worked for this family for 3 years with dignity and respect. I didn't deserve that. Kimmy's eyes widened with shock that I dared to speak. How dare you? No, I said louder now. How dare you? You assaulted me. In front of all these people. Because of glasses that are exactly what you ordered. I turned to Mr. Obiora, who stood frozen, looking between me and Kimmy. Sir, I've served your family faithfully for 3 years. I've never been late, never been careless, never been disrespectful. I don't deserve this treatment. Nobody deserves this treatment. Then I looked at Ikenna, who stood beside his father, his face unreadable. Your fiancée just assaulted your employee at your engagement party because she wanted to humiliate someone. Is this the kind of woman you want to marry? Someone who treats people this way? The silence was deafening. Kimmy found her voice first. Ikenna, are you going to let this maid talk to me this way? Fire her. Fire her right now. Ikenna didn't move. He was staring at Kimmy like he'd never seen her before. Mr. Obiora spoke, his voice cold. Kimmy, is what Adaeze said true? Did she follow your specifications for the glasses? That's not the point. She's being insubordinate. Answer the question, Mr. Obiora said. Did she follow your specifications? Kimmy's face flushed. Well, technically, but... So you lied. You accused her of disobeying orders when she did exactly what you asked. And then you assaulted her. She's just a maid. Kimmy burst out. Why are you taking her side? She's nothing. And there it was. The truth she'd been hiding behind designer clothes and fake smiles. One of the guests, an older woman I recognized as Mrs. Adaeze, a prominent Lagos socialite, spoke up. Young lady, I've known the Obiora family for 20 years. I've watched Adaeze work this party tonight, and she's been nothing but professional and hardworking. What you just did was not only illegal. Assault is assault, regardless of who you think you are, but it shows a disgusting lack of character. Other voices joined in. Murmurs of agreement. Disapproval. People looking at Kimmy with disgust. She slapped her for doing her job correctly? In front of everyone? That's abuse. I would never treat my staff that way. This is shameful. Kimmy looked around wildly, realizing the tide had turned against her. You're all being ridiculous. She's just... Enough. Ikenna's voice cut through the noise. He stepped forward, and for the first time since I'd known him, I saw a real emotion on his face. Anger. Disappointment. Shame. Kimmy, what you did is unacceptable. Completely unacceptable. But baby, don't. Adaeze has worked for my family for years. She's never given us any problems. She's respectful, hardworking, honest. And you just assaulted her because what? You felt like it? You needed to assert dominance? You wanted to show off in front of our guests. It's not like that. Then what is it like? Explain it to me. Explain how any of this is justified. Kimmy's mouth opened and closed. She looked to Mr. Obiora for support, but his face was stone. Get out, Ikenna said quietly. What? Get out. Of my house. Now. The engagement is off. The room erupted. Gasps, whispers, shocked exclamations. Kimmy's face went white, then red, then white again. You can't be serious. You're calling off our engagement because of a maid. I'm calling off our engagement because I just watched my fiancée assault someone and then try to justify it by calling her nothing. Because I realized I don't know you at all. Because I apparently almost married someone with no respect for other human beings. I cannot, please. My father will speak to your father about returning the bride price and canceling the wedding arrangements. I want you out of this house in the next 10 minutes. Security will escort you out if necessary. Kimmy stood there, shaking with rage and humiliation as the reality sank in. Her engagement party had just become her breakup party, in front of 200 witnesses. She turned on me, eyes blazing with hatred. This is your fault. You ruined everything. No, Mr. Obiora said firmly. You ruined everything. You ruined it the moment you thought you could treat another human being as less than human. Adaeze didn't do this. You did. Security guards appeared at the doorway. Kimmy looked around at the faces watching her, some sympathetic, most disgusted, and then fled, her high heels clicking rapidly on the marble floor. The party didn't recover. Within an hour, most guests had made their excuses and left. I stood in the kitchen, still shaking, my cheeks still burning, trying to process what had just happened. Mrs. Adaeze found me there. Are you all right, dear? I nodded, not trusting my voice. I got myself back. The video of that night went viral, by the way. Someone recorded the whole thing on their phone and posted it online. Millionaire's fiancé slaps maid and faces instant justice got millions of views. The comments were overwhelmingly supportive of me. People shared their own stories of being mistreated by employers, of being disrespected, of finding the courage to speak up. Kimmy's reputation never recovered. In Lagos high society, where reputation is everything, being known as the woman who assaulted staff at her own engagement party was a stain she couldn't wash out. I'm not happy about her suffering. I'm not that person. But I am happy that her actions had consequences. That for once, someone who abused their power faced real repercussions. And I'm happy that my story inspired others. I get messages regularly from domestic workers, from people in service positions, from anyone who's been made to feel small by someone with more power or money or status. They tell me that watching me stand up for myself gave them courage to do the same. That's the real gift that came from that terrible night. Not just my own transformation, but the ripple effect. The reminder to everyone watching that no one, no matter how wealthy, how powerful, how important they think they are, has the right to treat another human being as less than human. We all have dignity. We all have worth. We all deserve respect. And sometimes, it takes one moment of courage, one refusal to accept the unacceptable, to change not just your own life, but the lives of everyone watching. I still live simply. My business is successful, but I remember where I came from. I remember what it felt like to send almost every naira home to help my family, to save carefully for a future that seemed impossibly distant. I remember what it felt like to be invisible. Now, I make sure the people who work for me, my employees, my contractors, everyone, feel seen, feel valued, feel respected, because I know what the alternative feels like. And I know that no amount of money, no level of success, no degree of power gives anyone the right to make another person feel worthless. That slap was meant to break me. Instead, it woke me up. Kimmy wanted to put me in my place. Instead, she pushed me out of a place I'd gotten too comfortable staying in, a place where I accepted less than I deserved, where I made myself small to make others comfortable, where I let fear keep me silent. So in a strange way, I'm grateful to her. Grateful for the wake-up call, even though it came in the form of violence and humiliation. Because sometimes we need the worst moment to show us what the best version of ourselves looks like. And the best version of myself? She doesn't accept being treated as less than. She speaks up. She stands tall. She knows her worth and won't let anyone diminish it. That woman was always inside me. She just needed one terrible, transformative moment to come out. If you're watching this and you're in a situation where someone is treating you as less than you are, whether it's an employer, a partner, a family member, anyone, please hear this. You deserve better. You are worth more. Your dignity matters. I know it's scary to speak up. I know there are real consequences, real risks. I know you might lose your job, your relationship, your stability. But you know what you'll gain? Yourself, your voice, your power, your dignity. And that, I promise you, is worth any price. The moment that hand connected with my face, I had a choice. Stay silent or speak up. Accept it or reject it. Remain invisible or demand to be seen. I chose to speak. I chose to stand. I chose to be seen. And that choice changed everything. So here's what I want you to take from my story. You don't have to wait for someone to give you permission to stand up for yourself. You don't have to wait until the circumstances are perfect. You don't have to wait until you're sure it will work out. Sometimes you just have to open your mouth and let the truth out, even if your voice shakes, even if you're terrified, even if you don't know what will happen next. Because what happens next might just leave you speechless in the best possible way. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it gives you courage when you need it. I hope it reminds you that you matter, that you're valuable, that you deserve to be treated with respect and dignity. And I hope that if you ever face your own moment, your own slap, your own humiliation, your own test, you remember that you have a choice. You can stay silent, or you can speak. I chose to speak, and it saved my life. What will you choose? If this story inspired you or taught you something valuable, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss stories like this. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it today, someone who needs a reminder of their worth and strength. Drop a comment below and tell me, have you ever had a moment where you had to choose between staying silent or speaking up? What did you choose, and how did it change your life? I read every comment, and I'd love to hear your stories. Remember, every voice matters.